Thank you. Okay, thank you, Steffi. So, do we have our first slide here? So you know that the sharing economy has arrived in full bloom. When people talk about Airbnb and Uber and BlaBlaCar, just like Steffi mentioned, with the same breathlessness and excitement and sense of controversy that we once talked about Facebook, and when an entire two-day conference is devoted to debating and discussing the implications of the sharing economy, like happened in San Francisco recently. But like Steffi just said, when most people think about the sharing economy, they think about sharing things, like a spare bedroom on Airbnb, or a car ride on Uber or BlaBlaCar. But here is my point to you today, that the most exciting aspect of the sharing economy that's upon us now really is the one that we've barely begun to talk about. And it isn't a thing. It is our talent, our skills, our expertise, and our know-how, and the time that we have to share it. What do I mean by that? Well, let me share my own first experience with the talent sharing economy. It was about 2 years ago. I was new at my job, Odesk at the time, and I needed to reevaluate our brand. Now, in Silicon Valley, branding expertise is rare and it's expensive, and I was literally tearing out my hair trying to get this branding project off the ground. So I logged on to Odesk in desperation. It is a large online workplace with millions of talented freelancers, and ran a search, and within minutes, look who I was astonished to find. In the hills of North Carolina, retired, and only sharing his talent a few hours a week, was the former senior creative director of one of the largest advertising agencies in the world. And he was doing it, he said, to indulge his 10 grandchildren, to have a little extra pocket money. This man literally saved me. He worked for me from North Carolina, and I got the expertise I needed to get the job done. Now, who can participate in the talent sharing economy? Anybody with skills and an internet connection. So it might be a college student with 10 hours extra per week wanting to assist companies with social media campaigns. Or it could be a mobile programmer who likes to moonlight on the weekends. Or maybe even a mobile programmer who's struck out on her own, coding exciting apps for multiple clients from cafes and workspaces, urban, suburban, rural, or beachside, from anywhere in the world. And for businesses, it also means that we can hire people like I did, hire people like Jim, people of talent. And we can do so much more quickly, and even when we can't justify a full-time position. Now, what does this mean for the future of work? And in turn, we spend so much of our time working. What does it mean for the future of the way we live? Well, to explain it, I'm going to talk about 5 major trends or disruptions. Disruption number 1, corporate loyalty is dead. It used to be prized, but we all know that that's changing. And actually, a recent survey of the millennial generation, that's Gen Y, the young group of people that was born between 1982 and 1993, so the group that's entering the workforce in the largest numbers right now, this survey showed that 9 in 10 millennials expect to stay at their jobs for fewer than 3 years. That means 15 to 20 jobs over the course of a working life. And conservatively speaking, it takes, on average, more than 30 days for a business to fill a full-time position. So imagine spending 30 days every 2 to 3 years to refill the exact same position. Well, all of that is changing now. The internet and collaboration tools and online workplaces are making it easy for people and jobs to connect and disconnect as needs ebb and flow. And actually, as the work moves online, it makes it easy to measure results much more precisely. So what this means is we're entering a world in which it's all about employability, not about employment. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, instead of thinking about job security, professionals of the future will be thinking more about income security. They'll be creating diversified portfolios of income instead of relying on a single job. And the questions they will be asking themselves will be very different. Instead of asking themselves, what role will I have for the next 5 to 10 years, they'll be asking themselves, do I have the skills necessary to be successful? It's all about skills now. Am I at the top of my game in my field? Or is my field itself shifting? We know how quickly things shift in today's world. And if so, what do I need to do to brush up? We will be students every day for the rest of our lives. On the flip side, businesses will be thinking more like a Hollywood movie crew, identifying the skills they need for the job at hand and assembling the best talent to achieve the ideal result. Disruption number 2. Social networks haven't only changed how we relate to each other, how we share, how we do hashtag activism. They've also changed how we hire. It is now possible, well, let me back up. As we all know, we're sharing a whole lot more about ourselves than was thinkable even 10 years ago. And an entire generation has grown up pouring out their thoughts and their experiences onto a digital stage. And this has really major implications for how we think about people that we don't know. Our mental models have shifted from don't talk to strangers to vet, connect, and trust. So now, it is possible to learn a whole lot about someone you've never even met before you might even want to hire them. There are lots of sites with social components now where you can learn a lot about a person's work, whether it's GitHub or Quora or even blogs. You can even get a sense of their character. The social graph also typically or often allows us to figure out who we know in common, so we can get a backdoor reference on this person's work styles and strengths and weaknesses. Traditional resumes are out, and online profiles are in. This online profile of the future not only lists what we've done in the past, it also provides really easy access to work samples or portfolios or samples of code. Ratings and reviews capture past performance, and skills tests allow us to match the right professional to the right job and vet and see who is at the top of their game. Disruption number 3. Actually, this really isn't a disruption. This has always been true. The best talent is hardly ever within driving distance. What's changed is that we no longer need to be restricted by this outdated limitation. When this light bulb goes off, you can never go back. So listen to me closely. The best talent now can be anywhere, and you can connect very quickly. At Elance Odesk, where I work, when we fill jobs, the average job is filled in under 3 days, and 25% of the jobs are filled in under 24 hours. This means that people are literally finding each other overnight and getting the work done in record time. Disruption number 4. Businesses of one will be the new normal. In 2020, it is predicted that 40% of the workforce is going to be independent. That means 2 in 5 people will be solopreneurs. And think about how different this world is going to be when 2 in 5 people are working for themselves. I mean, think about even the skills and the work styles we're going to be experiencing when so many of us are solopreneurs. Imagine, for example, you're a web developer, and one day you're developing websites for a client, and the next day you are needing to hire a bookkeeper or a tax accountant to make sure your business is running. We're going to have to be both experts at customer service, servicing our customers well, but also at hiring other people. We need to be good managers and good customer service people and flow back and forth between the roles very, very fluidly. The physical world will also be be experiencing some changes. For example, think about how much of our infrastructure is designed around getting from point A to point B. And arguably, nothing is more repetitive than going from home to office and back home 5 days a week. Well, in a world populated by solopreneurs, most people don't become solopreneurs in order to commute for an hour to work somewhere. They typically work a lot closer to home. So what will become more relevant in the future will be online roads and bridges rather than physical roads and bridges. And governments and private industry of the future will be challenged to provide these solopreneurs and all of society with great high-speed internet access everywhere, and innovations in solopreneur retirement planning, and wonderful co-working spaces where people can come together to collaborate. Now, let's take the next step in reimagining the future where we can carry around our entire work lives on a tablet or a laptop, and where the people we collaborate with are one Skype video conference or Google Hangout away. And here's the transformation, and it is really profound. If you remember nothing else, remember this: work is no longer a place. So in a world where we can bring the work to the worker rather than the worker to the work, what becomes relevant to our lives is very different. And expect to see a lot less of this and a lot more of this. And all kinds of things start to be different. Everything down to what we wear. If you're in the fashion business, you're going to want to think about a lot less of this for the office and a lot more of this for working from home or from a co-working space. Even physical structures and architecture. We're going to see a lot less of this and a lot more of this. Now, when I put myself 10 years into the future, I even see the way populations cluster being a little bit different. I think cities will start to lose relevance, and towns in the countryside will start to grow in relevance. And why? Because in the past, people used to flock to the cities in search of work. That's why there were so many immigrations to urban centers. People were looking for work. Well, with the new talent-sharing economy and the work from anywhere world, people can start to choose to be anywhere. They can stay in the city or move to the city if they want, but they might also choose to be out in the countryside or beachside, or even on the go as part of a new breed of mobile professionals that we call digital nomads. Let's take a look.
My commute to work was an hour and a half out of my day I would spend in my car.
I used to have to fly literally 1 million miles a year. You add that up, that's a lot of wasted time.
My commute to work was actually quite laborious. I was living in London. I would have to walk to catch the tube, and then I'd be squished on the tube like every single other person stuck in the rat race. And then I had to repeat it all on the way home, always in rush hour.
It's exciting. Every day is a new adventure. 10 years ago, I never thought I'd be able to do this, but we can be in the middle of the Arctic Circle in Greenland and doing our job.
I would consider myself a digital nomad. Somebody who has the freedom to work anywhere in the world, where we want, when we want, based on digital tools.
People need access to a computer and the internet to have an office.
Freedom in my world means buying experiences, not stuff. And that makes you feel rich in ways that money can never, ever buy.
Thank you.